Vielen herzlichen Dank.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Thomas Lohninger, and I am from the non-governmental organization epicenter.works. Today I'm representing 270,000 shares of the umbrella organization of critical shareholders. The internet feels like home to me since my earliest childhood, but today it's the first time attending a general meeting of a telecom company. In preparation, I have looked at many lectures by telecom board members from the past years. Lots of them included the presentation of new products. Most of them were new developments by this group, and each time these products supposedly promised the future of digitalization. Dear shareholders, please ask yourself, how many of these products have kept this promise? How many of these products were ultimately successful in shaping the future? Therefore, please allow me to make a critical look at the future of StreamOn tariff of the Deutsche Telekom. At the beginning of the Internet era was the attempt of some telecom companies to build so-called walled gardens. These are limited areas of the Internet in which the telecom companies could set the rules and content. You might still remember AOL or CompuServe from that time. All these concepts of walled gardens, of isolated solutions, have failed. They no longer exist today, and understandably so. By contrast, the great breakthrough of the Internet, and thus a large part of the demand for Deutsche Telekom's Internet access products, was created by the open, unrestricted Internet. The experience of the past 25 years is clear. The open Internet is obviously superior to walled gardens because its openness to new products and services can serve consumers' diversified demand much better than limited access products such as StreamOn. StreamOn restricts customers' freedom of choice and free competition between content providers. I will explain this in more detail and give you some examples in a moment. Deutsche Telekom is currently repeating the mistakes of the past. Deutsche Telekom is investing in the past. To understand why StreamOn is inferior to the open Internet and why it is the wrong decision for Deutsche Telekom's business success, you first have to understand how innovation works on the Internet. The Internet is a global platform that behaves neutral towards all providers and inventions. Unlike classical television, on the Internet, you do not have to sign a contract with the network operator whose customers you want to reach in order to distribute your message. Unlike the telephone network, there is no central exchange which decides the price of individual connections. This neutrality of the network towards all providers and all users, the net neutrality, is the foundation on which the success of the Internet is built. With StreamOn, Telekom is taking a drastically different course away from this foundation. Within the StreamOn model of the Internet, an innovative startup which wants to pitch a competitive offer needs to sign a contract with every Internet provider in the world who serves a potential customer. With StreamOn, the mobile data of some streaming offers is more expensive than the data of others. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the logic of the old telephone era, and that is not the logic of competition and innovation in the Internet era. Telekom claims that StreamOn is non-discriminatory. Anyone can sign up. Let's take a closer look. By registering for StreamOn, the content provider agrees to work with Telekom on a permanent basis in order to make its own service identifiable on the Deutsche Telekom network. Any change to your own product must be announced to Deutsche Telekom 4 weeks in advance. 4 weeks are a long time in perspective to the time of innovation cycles on the Internet. Even more so when a data center fails and you need to react fast. Should a streaming provider fail to comply with these conditions, they risk either being excluded from StreamOn, which would be difficult to explain to their own customers, or risk receiving an incalculable contractual penalty as set in the terms and conditions. How many providers, I ask you, will be prepared to take that risk? And to you, Mr. Höttges, how many and which providers in the registration process for StreamOn has the Telekom rejected so far? The entrepreneur Timo Hetzel, who for many years produces a successful podcast, considered to become a partner of StreamOn and ultimately decided against it. Not only because he opposes the breach of net neutrality that is clearly portrayed by the product, but also because he could not take the entrepreneurial risk of participating in StreamOn. Nevertheless, Mr. Hetzel will be affected by StreamOn. Other audio streaming providers will sign the contract, giving them a significant competitive advantage in reaching Deutsche Telekom customers. Mr. Höttges, much to your credit, earlier on you clearly positioned yourself pro-Europe. My question to you is, can you tell me how a single European market is supposed to function if thousands of internet service providers in Europe follow the example of Telekom? Mr. Höttges, how should the language barrier be overcome if only providers from Germany and the USA are already partners of StreamOn? The registration process of Deutsche Telekom for StreamOn is mostly in German. The registration process of T-Mobile Netherlands for the Dutch sister program Data Free Music is exclusively in Dutch. Walled gardens such as StreamOn not only endanger the basis of the open internet, but also roll back the European single market and build new barriers for the digital economy. The terms and conditions of StreamOn are not only discriminatory for smaller providers. Vimeo, one of the most successful video streaming providers after YouTube, has also decided not to be part of StreamOn, according to a report in today's edition of Tagesspiegel. Vimeo has also sent an open letter to the Bundesnetzagentur, the German federal network regulator, explaining why they are technically and administratively unable to participate in programs such as StreamOn, even as a global player with 200 employees. The German federal network regulator is currently examining whether the StreamOn tariff complies with the legal requirements of the EU regulation on net neutrality. As someone who has spent the last 5 years of his life working on net neutrality, I can tell you StreamOn clearly violates applicable European law. But you don't have to listen to me, a representative of civil society. Look at the Federation of German Consumer Organizations, which clearly advocates a ban on StreamOn by the Bundesnetzagentur. Mr. Höttges, what will you do in case StreamOn is banned? It's not just the legal status that is problematic. The impact this offer has on your business should make you think. A major business area of Deutsche Telekom is the distribution of internet access products. This means that the continued innovation of the internet and the ever new incentives for customers to spend more and more time on the internet are of vital interest to the company. StreamOn, similar to the walled gardens of earlier times, is attempting to restrict the internet. It ignores the fact that so far all attempts to force the diversity of the internet onto one's own platform have failed. Instead of picturing the open internet as the enemy of its own business model, Telekom should use the open internet as the engine for its success. The diversity of the internet is the best argument why demand for its own product, providing access to all these wonderful services, is so high. It is this innovative power that will be lost if the new market entry barriers and market exit risks persist through StreamOn. Instead of forcing companies into contracts with StreamOn, Telekom should simply provide the internally calculated data volume for StreamOn for all services. It would be the easiest thing in the world to finally offer customers more data or a bandwidth-reduced mode instead of the current throttle. Ultimately, StreamOn proves that customers have long been paying for far more data than they currently receive. To conclude, StreamOn violates existing EU law on several levels, both in terms of data protection and net neutrality. Deutsche Telekom has taken a considerable risk by investing in a service whose legal admissibility is highly doubtful. After the Drosselcom affair, this looks like the next public relations disaster. But even worse, StreamOn risks the future and profitability of the company by endangering the foundations of the open internet. With StreamOn, Deutsche Telekom does not only bite the hand that feeds it, even worse, it devours the arm and whole body of that person. Thank you very much.
Herr Lohninger, vielen Dank. Ich darf dann Frau Anke Schnicke ans Redner